Ride the signal through the unknown. This is the cryptic current.
At one of Japan's three most sacred sites, there is a person who has inherited an ancient tradition that is on the verge of disappearing. Those chosen for this profession are often born blind or have lost their sight due to an accident. Their eyes cannot see our world, but their hands can hear the words of wind chimes and even the voices of spirits. Most of those who seek them out are families of the deceased, hoping to hear the voices of their lost loved ones through them, to somewhat console their regrets and the pain of separation between yin and yang. The issue of the existence of the afterlife and souls has always been a concern for many people and even the scientific community. German physicist Sogen Harschenfelder said that humans are a large collection of elementary particles. And with the elementary particles discovered so far, it is sufficient to analyze quite well what the human body is. However, some are not satisfied with this answer. They want something more, which they call the soul. One direction you can choose is dualism. It says that we possess all elementary particles and atoms, gravity and interactions, and such things. And on the other hand, we have the soul, and once they interact with the material world, they become part of our hypotheses according to the temporary beliefs of physics. So what does this mean? Between the elementary particles that constitute matter or atoms, and then how are the soul and the spiritual realm related? Some say the ultimate end of the material world is the spiritual realm. This sounds too unbelievable, right? Today, we will talk about atoms and the spiritual realm. Hello everyone, I am Miss Ruby. In the northernmost part of Japan's Honshu Island, there is a place called Aomori. This land area accounts for 1% of Japan. In the Shimakia Peninsula of Aomori Prefecture, there is a place called Mount Osor. Osor means fear, so this place is also called the Mountain of Fear, one of Japan's three most sacred sites. It was discovered over 1,000 years ago by a Buddhist monk searching for a sacred mountain resembling the world of Buddha. Local people believe that after death, humans come here because it is the pure land closest to the world of ultimate bliss. According to Japanese mythology and legends, Mount Osor in Aomori also marks the gateway to hell. And there, a profession is on the brink of disappearing. Even locals may not be aware of their existence. Their eyes cannot see our world, but their hands can hear the words of the spirits of the dead. And even the words of deities. They are the Itako, Japan's blind female shamans. During the summer and autumn seasons, when large-scale sacrificial activities are held at the Mountain of Fear, the female shamans come to Mount Osor to serve people. In their hands, they hold prayer beads, murmuring sutras. This ritual is very solemn and serious. Families with deceased loved ones come here, hoping through them to hear the voices of their relatives echoing from the other side of the world. In fact, in ancient Japan, poor eyesight was considered a symbol of high spiritual power. Only girls born with poor eyesight were qualified to be trained as future female shamans. When these girls are 13 to 15 years old, they apprentice to a master, followed by about 10 years of arduous training. It is said that after completing their training, they gain the ability to communicate with spirits. With the changes of the times, the issue of poor eyesight has also greatly improved. The older generation does not want to see young people suffer, so gradually this profession of female shamans is nearing extinction. The Itako female shamans in Aomori Prefecture now number only a handful, but what remains unchanged is the longing of families for the deceased and the skepticism about the existence of the spiritual realm and ghosts. Humans have always enjoyed exploring uncleared topics like the afterlife. Many people throughout their lives ponder big questions like who am I, where do I come from, and where must I return? Scientifically, the method of scientists is to directly research what the human body is composed of. The human body is about 60% water, carbon accounts for 18%, plus 3% nitrogen, 1.5% calcium, and 1% phosphorus, along with small amounts of potassium, sulfur, sodium, and magnesium, that's all. So, how long can the cells that constitute the human body last? Research has found that the average lifespan of cells is only 7 years. Some cells accompany us throughout our lives. According to older cells, on average, they are replaced every 2 weeks. But have people ever thought about a problem when all these cells have been renewed? Is this human body still the original human body? Just like the problem posed by Plutarch, the Greek writer, the 30 ships of Theseus. The hero in Greek mythology, along with the youths of Athens sitting upon returning from Crete, were kept by the Athenians as a commemorative monument. Over time, the planks gradually rotted, and the Athenians had to replace them entirely with new ones. Then the question arose, is this ship still the original Greek ship? It is indeed a question worth pondering. Some might think this problem has no answer. But long ago, the Greek philosopher Aristotle had already provided an answer before the problem even appeared. Aristotle proposed the theory of 4 causes, also known as the doctrine of the 4 causes. These 4 causes include the material cause, which is the substance that makes up the thing; the efficient cause, which is what brings about change; the formal cause, which is the form or essence of the thing and the definition of its nature; and the final cause, which is the purpose or end of the thing. So even if the ship's planks have changed, the form of the ship remains that of a ship. And the purpose of Theseus's ship in mythology was to transport and carry, while in reality, its purpose is to commemorate and remember Theseus. The material has changed, but the purpose remains unchanged, so it is still the same ship. Based on Aristotle's theory, combined with the knowledge of physicists, the basic elements that constitute the human body and all things in the universe are the material of humans. And the human body, animals, plants, and all diverse forms are the formal cause. There are also the efficient cause and final cause that are not visible to the human eye. For example, the purpose for which humans come into this world and their essence is the final cause. Therefore, some people refer to invisible things as belonging to the spiritual realm. If so, Aristotle's theory of 4 causes seems quite comprehensive. Some even believe it is more comprehensive than the analytical results of modern physics. Currently, physics has discovered that about 85% of the universe is dark matter. And everything in the universe is composed of 25 basic elements, including ourselves. German physicist Sabine Hossenfelder says that humans are a large collection of elementary particles. Sabine believes that the elementary particles discovered so far are sufficient to analyze what the human body is. Of course, some say that humans, besides the physical body, must also have consciousness and a soul. But from the perspective of physicists, things like consciousness can at most be attributed to the fields of brain and neuroscience. Regarding the soul, although current science cannot prove it does not exist, there is also no scientific evidence to prove its existence. I gone. She believes that if the soul truly exists, as long as it remains in one place, without interacting with the external world, it would not have any impact on this world. But once this soul interacts with the external world, it would directly involve physical issues and inevitably become part of physics. So let's return to the story of the blind Japanese female psychic. If they truly have the ability to communicate with the deceased, would that then become part of physical theory? Mean it. Of course, this is just personal imagination. Some say the end of science is religion. Others say the end of the microscopic particle is the spirit, and the end of the microscopic world is the spiritual realm. Are such concepts correct? We must know that before the 19th century, all theories about atoms were merely imagination without scientific support. Because technological equipment at the time was limited, humans could not accurately and completely observe the microscopic world. But it wasn't until the 19th century that the English physicist John Newton discovered the atom. In 1803, Newton first proposed the scientific atomic theory at a meeting of the Manchester Literary and Philosophical Society, a new system of chemical philosophy. Therefore, the development of quantum mechanics is essentially an achievement of the modern era, and can be considered a relatively new discipline. If one wants to prove that from a scientific perspective, perhaps more time is needed. However, more and more people are experiencing for themselves, even witnessing phenomena that science cannot explain, including scientists. Regarding the boundary of the microscopic world, is it the spiritual realm? The soul. Very noteworthy details are presented. Primo is a scientist, but the content in his book is difficult to explain with science, even somewhat unbelievable. In the preface, Primo writes that the origin of this book's content is not important, nor is whether some characters in the book are real or not. Like many people, he also has many questions about human existence in this world. What is the purpose of humans coming to this world? Why are there birth, aging, sickness, and death? Where do we go after death? Why does the world have so much injustice? Even children who have done nothing wrong, why do they suffer from serious illnesses, wars, and pain? Why do humans have distressing and unwholesome thoughts? Why are there good and bad people? Some are happy, others are unhappy. Are there answers to these questions? Primo believes that if one truly wants to explain what happens to oneself, relying solely on religion and science is insufficient. Because the religious side would say that since you lack faith, if you had it, you wouldn't need these answers. And the scientific side would say you lack knowledge, and science can solve many problems. Primo mentions in the book that he is very curious about spiritual matters. He heard that someone had experienced the soul leaving the body, so he wanted to try it himself. Therefore, every night before sleeping, he practiced body relaxation exercises. Nothing happened in the first month, and the soul did not successfully leave the body. But during this process, he gradually felt vibrations under the soles of his feet. Moreover, this vibration slowly spread throughout the feet and could be observed with the eyes. Next, the vibration extended up the body, to the neck and then to the top of the head, gradually making the body lose all sensation. And then at that moment, suddenly a sensation appeared as if the body was rapidly shot into a tunnel. It seems difficult to describe in words. After the speed slowed down, he realized where he was. It was also at that moment that something strange happened. Before him appeared a beautiful lake, surrounded by nature. The light, sound, flavor, and even colors there were all very dreamlike. He seemed to have merged into that world. The feeling was extremely harmonious. Rimu discovered a person sitting on a rock by the lake. He merely thought in his heart about wanting to approach that person, and indeed he got closer. That person seemed to be waiting for Rimu to arrive. This was an elderly man, with both beard and hair white. But his body showed no sense of the fatigue and weakness of old age. The old man's name was Isaiah. From now on, let's temporarily call him Elder Isaiah for convenience and distinction. Elder Isaiah told Rimu to consider him as an older brother. At the same time, getting straight to the point, he told Rimu to speak out all the doubts in his heart. Rimu said, although at this moment he felt very comfortable and happy. In the real world, he often felt lonely and empty. He did not understand why he had to come to this world, a world overflowing with suffering. After listening, Isaiah replied that it was because this world lacks love. Moreover, people have accumulated too much personal ego, causing most to lose the ability to perceive love. While the purpose of coming to this world is precisely to learn how to love, to transform personal ego into love, thereby changing the world. After hearing this, Rimu still found it difficult to understand, because human lifespan is limited. If death can end everything, then what is the point of effort? Especially since every day, millions of people in the world face death. Elder Isaiah slowly said, death is only the end of the physical body, but human consciousness exists forever. And Rimu at this moment is precisely a soul. Everyone is a soul. Only from reincarnation does the soul reunite with a new physical body. In fact, the physical body is merely a necessary garment for living in this world. The soul, after leaving the body, will continue to exist. Moreover, the soul can be upgraded, changed, or transferred. But it is absolutely never destroyed. Elder Isaiah also explained the reason Rimu could come here to speak with him. It was because his soul had detached. Even though his body still lay in bed, he himself was here. However, the soul's departure is only temporary. Because between the soul and the body, there exists an inviolable connecting thread. Called the silver cord. It can return the soul to the body intact. Like an umbilical cord, after the soul leaves the body, it still provides energy to sustain the body's life. At this point, Rimu developed many more doubts. But due to limited time, when saying goodbye, he was pulled forward by a surge of energy. As powerful as when the soul detached from the body. Then he returned to his body as fast as the speed of light. After returning, he felt very uncomfortable. Because compared to the lightness of leaving the body, the difference was too great. In the days that followed, Rimu could no longer view problems in the old way. He felt that most things in life, whether troubles in daily life or work, were merely trivial matters. But over time, doubt arose in his heart. Could it all be an illusion or something he imagined himself? Therefore, to meet Elder Isaiah again, Rimu began practicing a relaxation method once more. Unexpectedly, this time, after only 5 attempts, he successfully left his body and met Elder Isaiah again. Elder Isaiah, with that same warm gaze, was waiting for Rimu. This time, their dialogue went deeper. Rimu went straight to the point and told Elder Isaiah that he actually did not believe in the existence of God. Since no one has ever seen God, evidence is needed to prove his existence. After listening, Elder Isaiah replied that each cell in the body only sees the other cells around it, but cannot see the entire body composed of all the cells. One only needs to reflect carefully on the characteristics of the human body and the relationships between cells. Then, we can perceive and understand that we are part of the whole. In fact, the divine is very close. The works of the divine are present everywhere. The universe, life, and even within humans. Yet, we always think that the divine resembles humans, with eyes, a face, hands, and feet. In reality, the divine is in existence at a higher and more magnificent level. In fact, humans acknowledge that nature and the universe have creative abilities, and have discovered many principles of physics, chemistry, and biology from them. Yet, when speaking of the origin of the universe, humans believe it was created from nothingness. This is truly contradictory. In reality, the birth of all things originates from the divine. However, there is a creator who existed long ago, and will exist forever afterward. The divine is the one who created all rules and norms. After hearing these words, Rimu suddenly became curious about the form of the divine. And so, Elder Isaiah then revealed. In fact, from the works of the divine, we can infer its form. The divine resembles a human who has perfected all qualities of benevolence. The characteristics of benevolence include love, wisdom, righteousness, truth, humility, tolerance, honesty, empathy, and compassion. Rimu suddenly changed his attitude. He thought, if the divine is such a magnificent existence, then why does it allow bad things to happen in this world? Therefore, Elder Isaiah patiently answered Rimu's question. He said, it is because beings in the world are allowed the freedom to experience and learn from mistakes. After the soul leaves the body, it will progress to different spatial levels based on how many deeds aligned with the principles of love were done during life, and the level of soul development. Ultimately, it will return to the soul's homeland. Conversely, souls that have overcome personal desires will be elevated to a higher spiritual world. The spiritual world mentioned by Elder Isaiah seems similar to the spirit realm we often speak of. He said, the spiritual world is full of life, a dwelling place for souls related to Earth, and many beings not yet reincarnated on Earth. It is also the origin of most life in the material world where humans exist, and the destination of the soul after death. Elder Isaiah believes that the essence of life can be called an atom or atomic soul. Based on Sun's research and the later development of quantum physics, matter is actually just a condensed state of energy, which can be broken down smaller than atoms. Moreover, part of the matter, after decomposition, turns into light. Thus, light and external matter are seen as having different properties. But the difference between them is only in structure and condensation level. And each level between the spiritual world and the material world is independent and has its own laws. Moreover, they are not isolated but interconnected. Since the content of our conversation is quite long, we will only share out to here for now. Today, discussing the relationship between atoms and the spirit realm is to expand our imagination a bit. Based on Elder Isaiah's explanation, the spiritual world or spirit realm might be the atomic level known in science. Not to mention, we have also talked about how the form of atomic nuclei and electrons closely resembles the model of planets orbiting a star, like Earth orbiting the Sun. If these microscopic particles are all tiny planets, then could our microscopic life forms also live there? Just as Elder Isaiah said, the soul does not die. The lifespan of electrons and atomic nuclei is almost eternal. So in the atomic world, could this be where the spiritual realm exists? Not knowing about this, does your imagination spark any interesting ideas? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below the video. Our sharing session today will pause here. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to share it with your friends. Let's watch together. Thank you very much. Goodbye and see you again.
If the signal hooked you, subscribe and catch the next ripple.